Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a wonderful start to your day. We appreciate you guys coming on. We love it. And thank you for being such a loyal audience as you get your notifications this morning. We'll try and say hello to some dear friends, and don't be shy. Give us an indication that you're watching. And if you want to say hello, we love that. Okay? Brahim, there you are. Numero uno this morning. Rosalinda and Andrea and Sandy, Chilliwack, British Columbia, Patricia from Florida. Good morning to you. We love you guys. What an audience. Rosa, Moriad, how are you? Fred, there she is from Orangeville this morning. Lorraine, BC. Karen, Peterborough. Wendy, there she is from Markham. Yvonne from Petawawa. Roxanne, good morning. And Brahim's having his coffee. Me too. Bonnie, how are you? Carol in West Virginia. How is you, Carol? Laurie in Cambridge. And Patricia saying hello to all her friends. Tina, Nova Scotia. Hi, Tom. How are you? David in Ridgeway, Ontario. Frida from Devlin. Donna from Bell Ewart. Kevin Armere. Well, there he is. Milica. Stouffville. Bonnie, Little Britain. Faye, how is you? Judy, New Brunswick, good morning to you. Luella, there she is from West Tennessee. Charlene, how are you? Danny Lay, Iron Bridge, Ontario. Catherine, Springdale, Newfoundland. Nellie, good morning. And Maureen, Boca Raton, how are you? Norma, Dallas, Texas. Sandra, good morning to you. Cheryl, West Virginia. We love West Virginia. Lucille, Doris, Kitchener. John, how are you? And Sharon, second hot coffee this morning. Me too. Yvonne, BC, Marla. John, there he is from, not Elgin, Elgin, Illinois. John, I'll never forget it. Cheryl, Lighthouse Cove. Judy, Massey, in Newfoundland. Lucille saying lots of rain. Hi, Marcy. Hi, Patricia. There's 2 or 3 Patricias on with us this morning. Hi, Dennis. And Francis and Vaughn, good morning, good morning, good morning. We love you guys. Carol in Moncton, New Brunswick. Wanda's in Virginia. Donna's in Newfoundland. Carol's in Newfoundland. Sherry is in Mississauga. Wanda in Ridgeway, Ontario. And Donna, how are you? Donna saying hello to Elaine. Grace from the Rock. We love the Rock. Rita. Nativity. I don't know where you were, Nativity, but I'm glad I got to see your name. I'm going to say hello to Yolande. I'm assuming she's on. Anna. There you are, Yolande. I see your name. Marilyn. Some people ask me, why don't you say hello? Well, I never saw your name. Hi, Rose. We love you guys. Darcy, Wisconsin. Janice, good morning to you. Okay, let's get to some studies, guys. Shirley, Twingate, Newfoundland. Let me comment on some studies. Lifting weights. Resistant training. Where have you heard that before? Sun, steak, and steel. People think, is Dr. Martin suggesting we steal things? Nope. I want muscles. Your body's endocrine system depends on muscle. And I don't care how old you are. Get stronger. The research, guys, is overwhelming. What I knew about muscles And I knew every muscle. I memorized every muscle in the body. I think we got over 600. I memorized every one of them. Okay? But what we didn't know is the importance of muscle. I always knew it for bones, because people, there's actually a study, we'll talk about that in a minute, that I knew this in the 70s. When people were talking about calcium for bones, I was talking about the importance of muscles for bones. Because the stronger your muscles are, the better your bones are, because muscles attach themselves into bones. And the stronger your muscles are, the bone has to strengthen in order to keep up with the muscle strength. And so your bones build more bone. And so we know that. Yeah, you don't hear about it that much. It's too bad, because doctors would rather talk about calcium. But I was talking about muscle. But here's another one, and then we'll get to the calcium one too, because there's a new study on it. Okay, let me just read the headlines. Okay, lifting weights or resistant training, getting stronger. Lift weights, use bands, use your own body if you can do push-ups, or a modified push-up even, grip strength, okay? 90 to 119 minutes per week. I don't know why they didn't go to 120. I don't know. Is linked to a 13% lower risk of death, according to research tracking more than 147,000 U.S. adults over 30 years. So they tracked them. They said, son, steak, and steel. Get stronger. The sweet spot, by the way, for me, is not extreme. You don't have to be, go to the gym hours every day. Get stronger. Not only for your ability as you get older to get yourself out of a chair, and one of the longevity markers, okay, is grip strength. I grabbed a guy, he's 87, 88 years old. I shook hands with him the other day. He almost broke my hand. I said, I told him, I said, you're going to live long. He already has lived long. He was 87 years old, but he had a lot of grip strength. I said, well, I'm not a prophet nor the son of one, but I said, I think you got a few years left. And he kind of chuckled, okay? Anyway, the sweet spot is just getting stronger. And another longevity test is can you get off the floor on your own? It's not easy. Sit down on the floor on your own and try and get up. That's not easy. When you get my age, it's not easy. But it's important. And doing resistant exercises, lifting things, strengthening things is really important, and study after study. And remember too, guys, metabolically, here's another reason you want muscle. Because it's storage space. It takes fat out of your liver. Because insulin has to store that glucose somewhere. Its first place of choice is your muscles. But if you don't have muscles, that's why skinny people, they can be skinny as a rake and be very unhealthy. They store fat in their liver. And they're skinny because you can't see it. There's a new study on visceral fat. We'll try and hit it today. Okay, you know what visceral fat is? Fat around your organs. Okay, new study on that. So guys, you want to live longer? You want to live healthier? Guys, you know me. I'm not into quantity of life. I'm into quality of life. Okay? I don't want to live to I'm 110. Not if I don't have my brain. I want quality of life. You? Yeah. Some people, they talk about, I'm going to live till 110, like my Uncle Charlie. Yeah, but your Uncle Charlie lived to 110 by the grace of God. And you know what? If Uncle Charlie don't have his brain, he doesn't have his memory, you know what? Okay. Study number 1. Okay. Resistant training. Okay. Weight loss. Okay. Weight loss. Just a new article. It's harder to lose weight after the age of 40, according to this article. Hello? Hello? You got not hormones, hormones. And the game has changed. You get older, especially for women. Their progesterone drops. Their estrogen dominates. Their thyroid slows to a crawl. Cortisol is involved. The stress hormone. It messes you up. How many times have you heard that on this program? The pyramid. They've invited me to a conference to speak in Tirana in October, and I'm going to teach the pyramid. Okay? Let me get it out, because you guys know what it is, but, okay? Guys, if you want to be healthy, you better take care of the pyramid. Okay? And right in the middle of that pyramid is your pancreas, it's your insulin. You got to eat, but you better lower your insulin. Okay? Because it affects your thyroid, it affects your ovaries, ladies, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone in men, your cortisol, your adrenal glands, all connected. After 40, a lot of people are upside down and they gain weight. They look sideways at food. I've had women come into my office and say, Dr. Martin, my metabolism isn't slow. It's in a coma. Oh, I had a lot of funny patients, you know. It's in a coma. I would die and laughing on the floor. Yeah, I get it. I understand. Let me tell you why. Okay. Anyway, study on resistant training and hormones after the age of 40. It changes. Okay, let me see. Okay. Oh, this is one. Frozen shoulder. Okay. And other musculoskeletal. Okay, let me read you the headline. Frozen shoulder, musculoskeletal disorders emerge as hidden complications of diabetes and What? What's that got to do with anything? What is diabetes got to do with frozen shoulder? Guys, what do I tell you all the time? All the time. Insulin and insulin resistance and sugar glycates. And I always, because people, what? What are you talking about, Dr. Martin? Like, what has sugar got to do with my frozen shoulder? What's sugar got to do with the fact that I got a sore tendons and even the other day I brought to you because I was answering the question on gluteal tendinopathy. Okay? It ain't fun. But the research is showing, experts said persistently high blood sugar can damage collagen. I'm just reading the article, guys. Tendons, ligaments, and nerves, increasing the risk of pain, stiffness, and mobility problems that can significantly affect quality of life. Now, guys, changing your diet isn't everything, but it's something. It's important. And the research is now starting to really catch up to what I've been saying. The reset. When you get rid of sugar, how many testimonies do we have? Thousands of people over the years saying, you know what? My pain levels have gone down. My frozen shoulder is better. And now research is concluding the same thing. Is it everything? Food and pain? Nope. But it's a lot. And that's what they're saying. Okay? This is what the headline's saying. Experts said persistently high blood sugar. Okay? Now that doesn't even, look, they're talking about diabetes, but I'm not even talking about that, because diabetes is the last thing that happens. I'm talking about metabolic syndrome. 93% of the population are in the bad area of metabolic syndrome. Why? Because they're carboholics. They don't think of themselves like that. But they're carboholics. It bothers your joints. It bothers your tendons. Can damage collagen, tendons, ligaments, nerves, increasing the risk of pain and stiffness and mobility. Anybody ever suffered from a frozen shoulder? It ain't no fun under the sun. Like, you know. Very hard to rehab. And I mentioned this in gluteal, your glutes, your butt. There's so little blood in the hip joints, in the shoulder joints. I mean, that's a big factor orthopedically. And then they're saying sugar in the bloodstream. How do you measure that, guys? How do you measure it? A1C. A1C. Anything above 5.4? Anything above 5.4? Your A1C, that's glycated hemoglobin. Glycated hemoglobin. You can actually measure it. And when you get glycated hemoglobin, okay, that's your red blood cell, it gets sugar attaches to it, the protein, the hemoglobin, the oxygen molecule. It grabs it. It ages it. It glycates it. So you can measure it. If that's happening inside of your blood, in your red blood cell, it's happening in your muscles, in your tendons, in your joints. That's what the study is saying. Hello? Hello? You guys knew that. I've been talking about that. A hidden complication of diabetes. Yeah. Yep. It's hidden. But it's not even diabetes, guys. It's having elevated A1C, way before. Because remember now, like even in a pre-diabetic, I think what they use as for A1C is what, 5.9 to 6.5. And then if it's over 6.5 A1C, they'll say you're a diabetic. Well, diabetes is the last thing to happen. It takes years to become a diabetic. You're on the Titanic for a long time before you hit the iceberg. Okay. We did this yesterday talking about cancer. Higher meat intake. Here's one. Higher meat intake was associated with less cognitive decline. Hello? Hello? I met a guy yesterday. He don't eat meat. And he thinks that's good for him. Okay? Look, here's me, guys. Okay? Here's the way I operate, generally. And I did it a few times, even in my office. And my staff would question me after. Why didn't you try and convince them? I said they weren't listening. Linda, Larry. I had people come in. They were vegetarians or they were vegans. They thought meat was bad. And I said, can I convince you? And their eyes glassed over. I can read people pretty good. I said, well, I'm not going to waste my time. If you can't be convinced, if you won't even listen to the argument, what do you want me to do? A lot of people don't like that. I said, well, you're in the wrong place, man. Because when you leave my clinic, okay, and in all due respect to people, and I mean that, I respect people. You make a decision, it's your decision. But if you're not listening to my experience and my knowledge, and you're in my clinic, next. I had tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of patients over the years. And not everybody listened. What are you going to do? I wasn't going to quit because some people said, well, I don't like what you got to tell me. Well, you don't have to listen. Higher meat intake, okay, is associated with less cognitive decline. Yeah. Because if you bring me any food in the world, bring it to me, okay, and then we're going to take politics, religion out of it. Okay? We're just going to take everything out of it and just talk facts, ma'am. Elliot Ness. Just the fact. Bring me a piece of steak and bring me any vegetable you want. Pick your vegetable. Put them up against each other. In the nutrient profile, it ain't even close. It's not close. And if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you've decided, you think you're right, well, you better supplement. And that's what I would tell them on the way out. Okay? You're not listening to me about changing your mind, but I got to tell you something, and you're going to make a huge mistake if you don't supplement, because now you need vitamin D daily, you need B12 daily, okay? You need heme iron daily, because you're not getting it. You're not getting it. You're not getting vitamin K2. You're getting K1, but you're not getting K2. You better supplement. Anyway, why am I so uptight this morning? Okay. Higher meat intake was associated with less cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia. What am I scared of my age? Okay. I'm not a scaredy cat, by the way, but what am I scared of? I don't want to lose my memory. I don't want to lose my mind. I don't want that. I talked to another guy yesterday. His mother is in a home and she's lost. She's got Alzheimer's, advanced. No fun, huh? He was looking at me like, it's terrible. She doesn't recognize people. Terrible. Okay, I talked to you. Did I touch on this yesterday? Between metabolic syndrome and prostate cancer. And breast cancer. Whenever you hear prostate, ladies, think breast. Breast cancer, men, when you hear about breast cancer, think of prostate. Why? They're the same, just in different sexes. Okay? I've tried to prove that to you over the last 40 years, 50. Breast cancer is a metabolic cancer. It's a hormone-driven cancer. And the two worst hormones for breast cancer and prostate cancer in men is insulin and estrogen. And add a little hormone of cortisol, which aggravates, pours gasoline on the fire. Tony Jr. and I were talking yesterday. I said, man, we've been talking about this for a long time, haven't we? Insulin and cortisol. And Tony Jr. said, yeah, when no one else was talking about that. Well, we saw it in our clinic. I had the can't help it of tens of thousands of patients checking their insulin and their cortisol. Man, we live in a different world today. Okay, let me see. Here's on mental health, okay? This is a new study. Almost all, okay, of biological, psychological, and social factors implicated in mental illness can be linked to metabolism. I talk about this a lot, guys. The chicken or the egg? What comes first? Okay. Mental illness. Bipolar? Schizophrenia? ADD? ADHD? Anxiety? Depression? Okay. Alzheimer's? Dementia. They're connected, guys. They're connected. And I go back to the summer of 2022 because I do this a lot, but it's just because all of the research sort of came out in the summer of 2022 and it turned mental health, well, it should have turned mental health professionals upside down. Because they were talking about brain chemistry. And they were talking about, rather than talking about metabolic health. So bipolar, for example, okay? It's the chicken or the egg. And they're finding out the mental health is associated with insulin and energy, how your mitochondria work, food. They never associated mental health with food before. Well, they did, but they buried it. They said Alzheimer's was, they won a Nobel Prize in 2005. It was type 3 diabetes. Then it got buried because all of the Alzheimer's research was based on chemistry, proteins in the brain, tau, T-A-U proteins, plaque in the brain. They never talked about blood sugar and the brain. They never talked about food and the brain, but it's very important. And the new research is confirming that. Your brain is headquarters. 25% of everything you eat goes to the federal government first. Before any other organ, it takes 25%. You think that's important? Do you think that's important? Yeah. And what's happening up in the brain? So how does the chemistry get changed? Food. Your metabolism, metabolic syndrome, the connection. And it's amazing when you change your diet. Okay? And again, like you look at depression. Big factor is your metabolism. Big factor. And I always said this about mental health, guys. This is me. Okay? This is what I said back. I always loved, because I come from a mining town. Okay? The canary in the coal mine. I don't come from coal mining town. We come from gold mining town. The city with the heart of gold. Shania Twain and I, we come from Timmins. Okay? It was a gold town. But this is more for the coal mines, the canary, right? The miners used to bring a canary down. The canary dropped, okay, dead. They were in trouble. They knew the gases, the methane gases were changing. Get out of here. Well, that's the mental health. Those people are the canaries in the coal mine. Not gold mine, coal mine. And their chemistry, it changes, but why? They're so hypersensitive to food. And if you don't think sugar doesn't affect the brain, you ain't a teacher. Ask teachers. Well, you know what? Ask a parent. You feed your kids sugar at night? Probably not a good idea. They're going to bounce off the walls. And then I used to tell my kids in the office, okay? Not my kids, but my patients, children. Children are smart. I said, you like pizza? Oh, I love pizza. I said, have one piece, because it's going to turn to sugar rapidly. And you and sugar don't get along. I know, I love it, Doc. I know you love it, but you and sugar don't get along. And that pizza is going to turn to sugar. So you know what you do with the second piece? Like, I'm not telling you never to have pizza again. Don't eat the bread, because that's what turns to sugar. Take the toppings off and eat them. I can do that? Yeah. Eat the toppings. And don't have sugar. Don't have cereal in the morning. No? I love cereal. I know you do, but your brain don't. You love sugar, but your brain don't. So don't eat cereal. Frosted Flakes are not great. They're just not. Tony the Tiger, not your friend. Tony, me, I'm your friend. Okay? They used to call me Tony the Tiger when I was a kid. Frosted Flakes are great. No, they're not. They ain't good for your brain. They ain't good for your brain. And when I could convince kids and they understood it, they got it. They were smart. Usually smarter than the parents who were feeding them cereal. I said, you like bacon? I love bacon. Well, have that every morning. You like eggs? I love eggs. Have it every morning. You like toast? Yeah, I love toast. Well, don't have it. Because it turns to sugar. Okay. I got excited today. And I got so many more studies we didn't even touch on. Oh, my word. Look at these. Okay. We'll get to them, I think. What's tomorrow? Q&A, right? Friday's always fun, guys. Isn't it? Don't you have fun on Fridays? I do. Okay. I love your Q&A. I love your questions. Okay? So send your questions in to info@martinclinic.com. info@martinclinic.com. That gets to me for Friday. Okay? If you ask your questions up in the scroll, I never see them. I can't say that I shouldn't say never, but I rarely see them. Especially if you're asking during the program. I don't see that. Once I say hello to you, the scroll, not much. Okay? I don't see it because I'm trying to focus in on the topic of the day. Okay. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.